Hey everybody, Greg Nelson here, up on my pedestal in the academy, right in our corner. We have a little board here. And today I'm going to talk about combining your mental training with your physical training. A lot of times people are just in there and they're physically going after it. They don't have really an agenda of why they're doing things, what they're going to be doing, how they're going to do it, why they're doing it, when and where are they going to do it. So it's really important to understand, depending on your game, it really doesn't matter if it's wrestling, judo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, no-gi submission wrestling, MMA, Thai boxing, Brazilian, anything. It doesn't matter. Whatever the combat sport it is, it's really important that you tie in the mental and the physical together. It's going to accelerate your learning, and it's going to kind of give you an objective when I go into the room, what I'm trying to do and why I'm doing it. So it's really important. I started doing this in 11th grade when I was introduced to the concept by my coach, Dan Craig, who was my gymnastics coach, and he always would ask me, these questions and write them down for me and have me answer them and write a little essay back to him, and then they would give me more of an idea of why I'm doing what I'm doing and for what reason and when am I trying to accomplish it, etc., etc. So we're going to do this for the combat sports right now. And remember, this could be for any of the combat sports, so it doesn't matter if you're an MMA guy, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu person, Thai boxer, judo, wrestling, whatever your game is. This will all, these 10 questions that I'm going to pose are going to help you dramatically. Right, so we're going to get into question number 1 right away. What is my best position to attack from? So when I'm on the mat, what is my best, most effective position? Am I better from the guard and the bottom? Do I have a real tricky guard? Am I better from top, like mount? Do I have some real sick tricks from cross-side? Whatever. Up on the feet, what is your, from my takedown, where am I most effective? Am I more effective outside with my speed game and shooting low takedowns and singles and doubles? Or am I more effective tying up inside the clinch and really setting up my throws and takedowns and trips and sweeps from there? Whatever the situation might be, you have to figure out where are you most effective. Some people are even better kickers than punchers. Some people are better at that ability to transition from kicking to punch. So you have to figure out where you are most effective, all right? So again, what is my best position to attack from? Now, how do I get there? How do I get to that position? If I'm great at it, if I'm really good, how am I going to get there? And obviously, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we see it for those people that are really good from the guard. They just simply grab the gi and jump guard. They pull guard. And whatever guard they are most effective. You're seeing a bunch of people jump to 50-50. You see people jump to an open guard. Some people try to jump to closed guard, whatever it is. If I'm more effective from the top, I better know how to take somebody down so I can end up on top, or know how to pass their guard very effectively so I can get to my top dominant position, be it cross sides, knee mount, whatever it is, north, south, it really doesn't matter. If I'm really good at kicking, I have to know how do I set them up to keep them at kicking range so I can land that right kick at will. And again, it would be the same for your hand strikes, throwing, whatever, it doesn't matter. So how do I set the person up, or how do I transition into that position so I can attack? Number 3, what strikes are most effective from your best position? Or what submissions are more effective or most effective from that position? Or what takedowns are most effective from my best position, all right? So depending on your game and what you're trying to accomplish, you have to figure out from that position that I dominate from, what are my best strikes? What are my best submissions? What are my best throws, sweeps, takedowns, whatever, wherever, you have to really break that down, right? So you want to break that one position down, find out where you're best. Now, number 4, this is more of an MMA. How can my strikes be set up by my submission? So if I'm going for a submission attempt, let's say I'm on cross sides, I'm trying to go for a Kimura. So I get that Kimura, right? From that Kimura, if the person tries to counter, can I immediately go to a strike? Can I immediately hammer fist? Can I immediately drop a bomb? Which again will force the person to expose that arm so I can attack it again. So how can my punches set up my submissions? How can my submissions set up my punches or strikes? So you have to really kind of break that apart because they work tandem back and forth. Strike to submit, submit to strike. Okay? If they counter my submission, can I immediately strike or transition to another attack? All right? So now, from your top position, or from your, let's say we're taking about takedowns, if they counter my takedown, can I immediately transition to another takedown? All right? So again, just you have to put in your words and from your range of dominance. All right? So again, from here, let's say I'm on top and I go for, you know, again, let's go for Kimura. All right? I go for my Kimura. The person starts to counter, so from that Kimura I can go to a straight arm. From that Kimura I can go to a wrist lock. Right? So I have to know from one submission, when they counter, what does it lead up to? You know, the easiest thing, what you first learn, we'll say from guard, all right, you're going for the arm bar, the person pulls the arm, so immediately you go from arm bar to triangle. From the triangle, the person postures up, so you immediately transition to an arm bar. So now you're going from arm bar to triangle, back to arm bar, you know, and you can go into omoplata. From omoplata, you can go for the finish, you can go for the sweep. So you see how from that counter, they set themselves up for the next lock. All right, so you have to figure that out. What's my best combination from there? Now, how do people counter or escape the position that I favor? So how do they maneuver their body? How do they try to escape my dominant position? And from that escape, all right, I now can set up my submission. I now set up my various attacks. Again, am I in MMA, so I can strike from there, or if I'm in purely submission wrestling, I can attack from, you know, go for a submission from there or transition to a more dominant position. Or if you're in wrestling, when the person tries to move, I could chop the arm and go for a tilt or go for a pin. So you have to see what, you know, from there, when they try to escape from where they're at, how can that set up my next move? Okay? Now, what counterattacks are set up by their attempt to escape? So again, we just kind of addressed that a little bit. All right, when someone's on the bottom and they decide to try to shrimp to the side and push, and all of a sudden that top arm is exposed for an attack, whatever it might be, Kimura, straight arm, all right, wrist lock, doesn't matter, right? You're punching them on the bottom, they put their hand up, bam, you hit immediately your arm bar. You go for from the strikes, you're set up, or the person tries to, you know, get away and sets up the arm bar. So you have to see from their attempt to escape, how they move, how can I set up various submissions that I favor. All right. Now, what top dominant position can I transition to? So if I'm in the mount and I'm working from the mount, and the person tries to shrimp and shove my leg between their legs, so I get stuck and basically in a half guard. Basically, what am I going to do? Instead of getting caught in that half guard, how about when the person tries to shrimp and get away, I immediately windshield wiper and transition into knee mount, or I transition back to cross side, so I can still maneuver. I'm still in a 100% top dominant position to attack. All right? Very important that I don't get caught in a position that kind of stifles me or takes away my ability to maneuver or attack. Right? So I want to be able to transition effectively. If countered or rolled or switched, reversed, or escaped, what positions do I end up in? So again, let's say mount. I love the mount, so you're on top of mount. You're trying to attack. When the person does a big giant arch and roll, guess where you end up? In the guard. All right, so you know you're going to end up there. So then, from that position, you know, you're going to have your steps. What are you going to do from there? Now you have to think about that from everything. What if I shoot in for a double, and the person counters and they sprawl, and they're on my back and I'm right there? Now I have to figure out, because it's very common when I shoot, the person sprawls on you, what can I do from there? How can I be comfortable from there? Which brings us up to number 10. How can I attack when I'm reversed or countered? All right, so again, let's say that the double leg is classic, or single. I shoot in, they sprawl, and they're going for a front headlock or a front face lock or a guillotine or a choke. So I'm on all fours, I'm on that position. How do I control that hand? How do I maybe do a peek out and reshoot, cut the corner and hit a single? All right, or do I get a roll from there? What do I do? Or do I just release the grip, pull my head out, start over, right? And do a front headlock escape. So I have to know what I'm comfortable with when the person counters my move, right? And again, you may end up from one position all the way reversed onto your back. So now you got to think, how can I attack from here? It's very important to understand, you know, everything you can about the position that you are trying to dominate, right? And remember, we're talking about one position for all these questions, right? And obviously, you could now do that for every position that you want to dominate on the ground. But it's really important that you first take apart one area. Because if you start to overanalyze everything, you're going to be so spread out with your thoughts that you're not going to be able to focus, right? So it's really important to take apart one position. Let's take, again, your best position first, break it down, and really analyze it using these questions, all right? So, again, what is my best position to attack from? How do I get there? What are my setups? What are my transitions to get there? What strikes or submissions or takedowns are most effective from my best position, all right? Can my strikes set up my submissions? If they counter my submission attempt, can I immediately strike or transition to another attack, right? How do people counter or escape my position? What counterattacks are set up by their counterattacks, right, or escapes? What top dominant position can I transition to? If countered, rolled, switched, reversed, escaped, what positions do I end up in? And how can I attack when I'm reversed or escaped? So how do I counterattack the attack? So you got 10 questions that you got to break down for just one position, right? And then again, start to go off from there. But it's really important to think about that just one area, because again, if you start doing that with everything, it's just going to be overwhelming. So if you break it down first, remember, as my little saying I always have is, jack of all trades but a master of none. But if you master a few, you jack everyone. That's why it's so important to take that one position and break it down. So then the responsibility lies on the person to try to counter what they know you're great at. It's up to them. All right? So again, here's a couple of questions. Break it down. All right? Really analyze, and I guarantee it's going to improve your game. All right? Again, Greg Nelson here from the Academy in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Jumping off the pedestal. Bam.